Okay, so my name is Chika Isaac, and to take us to the next session, we'll be having a fireside chat, and the topic for our next fireside chat is the realities of scaling innovation for lasting impact. And this session is specifically to you if you're building anything, any form of innovation currently, or you have in mind to build. Right, the goal of building is not just so that you uh, although you start locally, like we rightly talked about in the last session, but there's still a goal to go global, right? And for you to be able to scale at that length, there are conversations you need to have. So this session is really going to talk about if you are about to scale, what do you need to pay attention to? And to join me in this session will be no other person but Funto Adeshola. She is the chief of staff of the Ennovate Lab, all the way from Ogbomoso. So she's representing the co-founder and CEO of the Ennovate Lab, um, and that's Jesudamilare Adesegun-David. Like I said earlier, our session today is basically focused on scaling innovation. So you have something you're building, or you have thoughts in your mind. A lot of people here are building innovation, right? And I know that having known Innovate Lab for a very long time, and having to see that you've been in the system for a very, I checked out your profile and I saw that you were in the system from almost the very beginning up until this point. So I have a few questions to ask. First of all, is looking at the realities of what you've been in. You've worked with startup founders within Innovate Lab, and you yourself have seen Innovate Lab also grow. What would you say is your definition of scaling innovation? I mean, I would like that you share some of those personal stories as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chika, for that. Please, can you hear me clearly? All right. But before we get started on scaling innovation, I mean, scaling is like you are increasing something,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
We need to first understand what innovation means. And I believe that we are in a room filled with innovators, tech enthusiasts, creatives, and all that. So, what do we mean by innovation? I would say that innovation is your ability to solve a problem for the people or for a community. So if you don't know, like I don't think we should call you an innovator if you're not solving a problem. Innovation is not entrepreneurship. It has to do with real life problems, right? So it means that you're solving real life problems for real life people. It's not hypothesis, right? So understanding that as a background, I would say that scaling innovation is your ability to. So let's say that you are solving a problem for 100 people before. So now scaling innovation is that taking that solution and increasing it to solving the problem for 1,000 people or 10,000 people, right? So and like you said, how do I say? Innovate Lab clocked 8 years this November, and of that 8 years, I've worked at Innovate Lab for 7 years plus.
Interesting.
So I started working at Innovate Lab when Innovate Lab was just about 3 or 4 months old,
Wow.
right? So I can say that I was part of the founding members. And I've seen, the organization work through different transitional periods. And talking about like the experience that I have at Innovate Lab, I've seen us. I mean, at the beginning, we used to say that Innovate Lab is innovation meets enterprise. So like we are solving a problem for the people, but in an as an enterprise, right? And now, if you ask us that what is our mission, we'll say that the mission of Innovate Lab is to transform underserved university communities, leveraging technology, entrepreneurship, and placemaking. It's a lot of grammar. It's a lot of grammar. But what that meant for me, or what that means for me, is that I've seen this organization wanting to solve a problem for a small group of people
Yeah.
or a small
Yeah.
community, because we are operational in Ogbomoso at the moment. But over the years, we realize that there are a lot of small communities like Ogbomoso
Yes.
And so our vision is not just for the people of Ogbomoso. We want to be able to we want to be able to create a playbook and replicate it in other similar communities like Ogbomoso. And when I say similar communities, I'm talking about underserved university communities, places like that we literally call secondary cities, not primary cities like Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja
Yeah.
and the like.
Yeah.
So
Okay, interesting. So thank you very much for that definition. And I just wanted to please Innovate Lab. She said Innovate Lab had done 8 years already. When she said that, I didn't want to interrupt, but I just wanted to celebrate what they are doing at Ogbomoso. Can't you just jam your hands together to just celebrate what they are doing? Now, the reason why, thank you very much. The reason why I asked you to do this is yesterday, one of the speakers used the same words that she used. That's secondary cities, right? Having to build in a secondary city is not easy, right? Many of us are here. Ilorin is also tagged as a secondary city. And you know what the struggle looks like having to build right from here. And Innovate Lab has done that, and they are already 8 years doing that. So it's worth celebrating. Can we do that again one more time? Okay. So just as she has defined a follow-up question for with that, and you said something around the point where the vision started with, okay, let's solve a problem for these young innovators within our community. So you are looking innovation, enterprise joined together. But now you've scaled the assemblies there and other things that other products that I know Innovate Lab has, even there's a career program I also saw that happened, right? So what are the hidden realities? I mean, those hidden brutal truths about the process. We need to be very real. If we are saying realities about scaling innovation, let's talk about what are those brutal truths, right? When you want to move from 700 people to 8,000 persons, right? What are those things that outside there, it looks good for PR. It looks good. Oh, we're now serving 10,000 people. But what are the deep things that don't make it to the media that startup founders or people who are intending to be startup founders need to know here?
okay, thank you for that question. Just like you said, when people see, oh, you guys are doing amazing, or they see the structure that you put together, the first thing that comes to mind, they're like, wow, this is amazing. But then, what people don't understand that scaling would cost you. In fact, sometimes, it's not even sometimes, it will cost you sleep. It will cost you your mental health. It will cost you a lot of things. It will cost you, I would say scaling is very expensive. It is very, very expensive. It will stretch you mentally. It will stretch you psychologically. It will stretch you physically. It will stretch you operationally. Like everything that you can think of, it's going to stretch you. Scaling does not come cheap. It is not cheap. And if you're imagine that when you started out or your small business, you have maybe about 10 members of staff. And let's say that at the end of the month, your your expenses is about maybe 500,000 naira. If you think about your rent, pay salary, I'm just okay. I said 500,000. Some people are actually earning 500,000. So let me think about something interesting, because right now when startups are building, everybody wants to make money fast. So let's say at the end of the month you are spending about 10 million naira. When you think about rent, you're paying your staff, you're like there are a lot of operational expenditures as well. But now you are scaling and you're moving from 10 to 100 people, or say 500 people. And the interesting thing is that you're not going to just multiply that linearly. It is exponential growth.
Okay.
Right.
Do you mind shedding more light when you say exponential growth?
So it's like how do I say it? So linear growth is you are growing gradually.
Yeah.
Like, okay, from 10, maybe you're doing 50, from 50, the next quarter you're doing 60, and like that. You can track the progress. You can say, okay, you can project that in the next 1 year, would be able to do about 80 people thereabouts.
Okay.
Like, the growth is slow. But with exponential growth, it is sudden. You're moving from 700 people to 71,000 people, 5,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I want to talk about the financial aspect when I said it's going to be very expensive. So the operational expenditure is, as you are growing, is also increasing exponentially. Just the salary you are paying your staff is also increasing exponentially, because it means that with growth, you are actually looking for people that can help you deliver your products in a shorter period of time. So if when at the time when you were doing like 10 people, you had 10 members of staff or something, you hired maybe an early start engineer, but right now you're serving 1,000 people. You need a senior engineer, and you have to pay money for senior engineers. You cannot want to pay a senior engineer like 300K. Like, is it for Gary or what? Like, you have to pay. Do you get? So it's going to stretch you like everythingly. Then the second thing I would say is that scaling is going to expose your weakness.
Interesting.
So, like, there's something I mentioned earlier that, if you're serving 100 people and now you're serving like 1,000 or like 5,000 people, if there's no structure in that 10 people that you are serving, by the time you scale exponentially, the business will crumble, because there's nothing to like guide it, there's nothing to like put it together. So it means that as a small startup owner or as a small business owner, you need to start putting in structure from the get-go. And then find ways, like begin to think along the line that this business would scale one day. This business will serve 1,000 people one day. This business will serve 100,000 people one day. This business will scale outside of Africa. What are the structures? What are the things that we need to prepare for? Because if not, like I said, it's going to expose your weakness, like your leadership weakness, because of course, there's no leader that is perfect.
Yeah.
There's no employee that is perfect. I know that employees like to complain about their boss, that it's toxic. But even you, if you are delivered well, most people will not complain.
Okay.
Except that maybe they have like mental, I don't know. But it's going to expose your leadership traits. It's going to expose like imbalance in your operational processes, like your processes. So your processes have to be well laid out. Like you put in good structures. You know the kind of leader that you are, like, because there are different type of leaders. And different type of leaders cannot serve all employees. There are different kind of employees as well. You need to understand your people, the people that you serve. So that's why I said it will expose your weakness. And the third thing that I would say is this. The fact that your business is making impact does not mean that it is sustainable. And I feel that's one mistake that a lot of people used to make. That, we are operational in Ogbomoso. We've been able to, and when you're putting together your pitch deck or your business proposal or partnership documents, you're going to talk about all of those. I mean, we talk about it in business development and say, talk about the numbers, give us stats, give us numbers and all of those things. How many people have you served? What is it? It is good. Numbers is good. I'm not against data. I'm not against number. But sometimes we need to understand that the fact that you are making impact does not mean that business or that initiative is sustainable.
Okay.
There are like a couple of things that can make a business sustainable, right? It doesn't mean that it's sustainable. You might say, okay, we've been able to do this thing in Ilorin for 5 years. So let's go to
Lagos, for example.
Let's go to Lagos, for example. Or maybe, okay, for instance, let me give example of Ennovate Lab. So all the things that we've been, like, remember I said that now we are thinking about other underserved communities like Ogbomoso. So there are certain programs that if you go to another location, we might not be able to start with those programs.
Okay, true.
So the fact that we are making impact in Ogbomoso does not mean that program is going to be sustainable in another location. So you have to understand that, because there are like many other things that comprise of that make up sustainability in a business.
Yeah.
The funding part is there.
Yes.
So if you think that the way people are receiving your business in Ilorin is the way they will receive it in another location, then you are deceiving yourself.
Interesting.
You need to be able to innovate for the people within that community. Yes, they might have similar problems. Everything might look similar, but it's not the same because they're not the same people.
Yeah.
So
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can we celebrate her? So she said three very powerful things, right? Number one is the structure within your business. The truth is, if you are serving 10 people, when you serve 100 people, it will shake you a bit. it will shake you, because if you don't have imagine we are, both of us are co-founders, and then we have been serving 10 people for the last 3 years, and then suddenly we begin to serve 100 people. Is it that we're having sleepless nights, or we are not able to meet up to the demands? Because what structure helps you to do is sort of replicates that process amongst different other people, right? And then she talked about the financial part of things. I would have loved to touch about the finance, but let me go to, because you are the chief of staff, right, for Ennovate Lab. Let me just do a bit of touch base with the talent side of things. So yes, I have an engineer who has been delivering well, but suddenly we have more users, or we have more customers, and the demand is becoming high, and it looks like this guy cannot fit in any longer, right? How do you manage that sort of situation, right? And then are there things that you need to do to adjust in terms of your talents, in terms of managing the kind of people that come in, and especially when it has to do with culture, right? You said something about sustainability, and I believe culture is also a key part of sustainability. So are there things that you need to pay attention to when it comes to the talent and the people within the team when you're scaling?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's something we used to say at Ennovate Lab, or there's something that we believe at Ennovate Lab, that our people comes first.
Yeah.
People before product, people before money, people before anything. And so let me start by answering that question from the angle of culture. The culture of an organization can either make or mar the organization. If you don't, like I said, your small business, you might think, okay, maybe it's just me and my partner and 2 other members of staff. I understand him, he understands me, yada, yada, yada. You don't need to think through our culture handbook. You see that by the time you are adding more people, which is what they meet on ground, that they will continue.
Okay.
So let me explain that. So, like I said, I joined Ennovate Lab when I was very new, like less than a year. And during that period, JD, my boss, would always, it's like every single week when we have our team meeting, he would tell us about the vision, he would tell us about the mission, he would tell us about, it's like, this is what we are looking at. It's not, don't look at it from this small place. Think about it like this. And then he would tell us about the culture. That first is about the people. It is when you build people, people will build with you. If you give people room to grow, they want to grow with you. That might look like a aspire to perspire thing, but it's the truth, honestly. And I've been at Ennovate Lab for 7 years. And it's not because I was out of options. It's not because, she doesn't have any other thing to do. There are options, actually, like multiple options, right? But there's something I used to tell my family whenever, like, what are you doing, Ogumosh? I used to say that if I see someone who is invested in my growth, number one, this person is sacrificing everything to see that I am comfortable in my work and I am growing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, the pay is averagely okay. I don't think there's something else I need to, because of course money will come. Like, it's like I'm saying a lot of things right now. Money will come, because I feel like most people are always about the next paying job, the next highest paying job, rather than a place that gives you room to grow, right?
Yeah.
So first thing is culture. You need to define your culture, craft a culture that's your value system has to be very tight. It has to be very, very concrete. Now, when it now comes to retaining talent, like I said, when you give people room to grow, you give them chances to make mistakes, to stumble and fall and rise. They know that, okay, this person is invested in my growth. And if they have good heads on their shoulder, they also want to invest in the business. So there's something that we believe where I work, that this business, you're not just, so whenever I introduce myself, I don't say I work for JD. I used to say I work with JD because it's a partnership. What I am doing, he cannot do it. And that is the honest truth. What he is doing, I can't do it, but I can grow to doing it. If he wants to take on my job, he's going to just shoot himself in the leg. So it means that if he's not treating me well, he's shooting his business in the leg. That is how you retain talent. You ensure that you invest in your people. Now, there was a time when I was at a very interesting Example, there was a time when we were like, oh, we need people that are very experienced, people that they've done all these things. And we got an employee who had just finished her master's in the UK. She finished from Covenant University, studied in London, and then came back to Nigeria. When you're like, I just got back, let me show you how it's done, kind of vibe. And we're like, oh yeah, we are looking forward to this person transforming our business structure and all of these things. Do you know that the person did not last more than a month? Yeah. Because you call yourself a business developer. You're supposed to be helping us solve problems. But you are constantly complaining about the problem that you're solving. You can't see beyond your nose. You can't see beyond the problem. So at the end of the day, realize that this person is not culturally fit
For the firm.
for the organization.
Okay.
And then we have to let this person go. But with every other person, there's a breeding ground. There's something that we call I've forgotten it, it's like an innovation box where you give people the room to make mistakes, to reiterate, and then grow, and then improve on themselves. And that is how we have a lot of people who have spent more than 5 years at Ennovate Lab.
So a follow-up question to this, right? You say we should give people room to grow. How do we balance giving talents room to grow and it's not affecting customers and the users? I mean, we are giving you room to grow, but your mistakes are affecting what we are delivering to the customers, right? Maybe, there's an update that is supposed to be on this software, and people have been requesting for this thing, and then we are still having back and forth from your end. How do we balance that? Giving people room to grow and ensuring that our customers exactly when we are and the case study is we are scaling. We have more people. It means the demand is higher. So how do we balance that?
Okay, so that's a very that's a very significant question that I thought I would be able to buttress on as I was speaking. Giving people room to grow is not a walk in the park. It's not something that you shine your seats. It is, how do I say? It has its own strain on the business.
Okay.
It has its own strain on you as a leader. But you know that, like I said, investing in people and just allowing them to grow so that and all of that. But to balance it is that you have to then look for talent that can actually do the actual job.
Okay.
So it's like this. So let's assume that we have someone who is let's just use the example of an engineer. We have a junior software engineer who has been with the business maybe like for about 2 years, and then this person is not growing the way they are supposed to grow. I mean, our bugs in that they are building, there's just something that is not working. If you are able to, you've already spoken with this person. Because now this thing that I want to say is very controversial. It might not work for every other organization, but I will say it regardless. At Ennovate Lab, we've only allowed one person to go, and that's the story I just shared. You will make the decision yourself that you are leaving. That's because we've given you enough chances. But that does not mean that when we see the need to get better talents, we don't get them. So when I was saying that you give people chance to grow, you give people chance to grow, but not at the expense of the organization.
Okay.
So it's like you are like, okay, there are some people that we kept on internship program for like a year or even more. They came in as interns. Because when we want to hire, we are not hiring, especially if you are not so skilled. We hire based on internship. Okay, come in for 3-month internship. That is where the growing part comes into the play. But when we want to hire talent, we hire people that are very skilled. That you know that, okay, if we give you this, you're not going to stress us to say, oh, today I did not know what to do, or you're going to stress your team lead. So there's also room for hiring skilled talent and room for hiring junior talent that can actually grow with the business. There are instances our design lead left for the US for his PhD last year. And there was someone who has been in the organization for about 2 years. He came in as an intern when he was an undergraduate student. Now, the moment he was with the organization for 2 years.
So he had learnt.
He had learned the ropes. He had learned every single thing that this, he can actually replicate the design that the engineer and the design lead can do perfectly. So when this person transitioned and left for the US, the next thing is who is going to lead the team. So rather than hiring like
Somebody
another
else.
talent from outside who would need to now learn the culture, the way of the business, this person took on the reins of the team.
Interesting. So if I get you correctly, it's a good balance of hiring the necessary skill and then allowing your people to grow. Interesting. So we don't have too much of time again. So I'll just ask this question before your final words. And the question is simply, we're talking about scaling innovation, right? For impact, lasting impact. Looking at communities like Ogbomoso, Ilorin, in quotes, the secondary cities. What would we say lasting impact will look like for us in the next, say, 5-10 years, right? What will lasting impact exactly look like? I mean, this is so that if somebody is building and you are finding it difficult to define, oh, what does impact look like for me, right? As a startup founder, this can help them also.
So when you are talking about lasting impact, you are talking about your legacy.
Yes, something around that.
So there's this example that comes to mind. How many people knows Alabukun? Alabukun. Do you
Those
know?
guys.
Okay, another example. How many people know St. Louis Sugar? I use St. Louis Sugar. So if you want to talk about lasting impacts, think about these two brands. In fact, I think I saw it recently on IG. Somebody mentioned that this brand, since I've known them, they've never changed their pack. They've never done this thing. That's St. Louis Sugar.
Yeah. I don't think Alabunko has even changed, and I think Alabunko is over 100 years.
Yes, it is. It's over 100 years. That is legacy. So when we are thinking about lasting impact, you're not thinking about, okay, maybe this business will last for another 10, 20 years. No, you are thinking in century. You are thinking that, okay, this business I'm building, even if I die today, this business will not die. Now, the interesting thing is that in Nigeria, there are few organizations like that. In fact, the founder did not even die, but the business have died. There are many times where you see on Tel Kabal, like maybe the newsletter or their IG or Twitter posts, and you see that this business that raised Series A funding 1 year ago, they've closed shop. And I wonder, Ewa, if people give me this money, do you know what I'm going to do with the money? Like, are you joking with me? That is because people are not always thinking about, they're not thinking futuristic. They are first thinking about the immediate impact.
Okay.
So if you want to build a business that will last, like that will have lasting impact, you have to think. You're not thinking in 10 years. You're not thinking 15. You're thinking 50 years. You're thinking a business that even if your children are not in the business, there are people that you have built structures around them that can take on the reins of that business when you are gone. So you're not first thinking about yourself. You're not first thinking about the immediate community that you're serving. You're thinking about similar communities that you're serving, that this business can serve as well. So imagine after 50 years, you're no longer here. What happens to your business? If you have the chance to look down from wherever you are over there, will you be happy about how the business is being run? So if that is the case, then you need now, today, to put in structures, to put in things that can sustain you. I mean, my boss traveled for 6 weeks. He returned this morning. And if he had not put in structures, the organization would have struggled. I mean, imagine yourself not in your business for 6 whole weeks. Do you get?
That's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for that. Just before we go, for somebody who is building here, you said a lot of things, right? So for somebody who is building here and probably looking forward to scale their innovation, what would be that one thing that you think they should understand early? I mean, understand now and start working on. You said, talked about finance, structure, leadership, right, and all of it. What is that one thing that you think, work on this one now, and you are on your path to getting ready for scale or facing the reality of scale when it happens?
Two things come to mind right now. And the first one is, what is the purpose of what you're building?
Okay.
There's this saying that says, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. If you don't know, like some people start businesses not even knowing what they are solving for. Some people say, this is our solution. What is the problem? Go. You can't say. So you need to understand the purpose. What is the purpose of this thing that we are solving for? Number 2 is build. See, we cannot overemphasize the importance of structure in a business. Build a structure that can make that business live with or without you. And then 3 is that, you still on structure. What you are doing for 100 people, imagine that you are doing it for 10,000 people. What would it look like? So if you are able to answer these 3 questions, it will allow you to scale. It's like you are crafting a growth trajectory for yourself.
Thank you very much for the session. Can we celebrate our guests? Thank you very much for the wonderful session. Please.